All right, President Trump got a first-hand account of Harvey's devastation in Texas yesterday as he responded to his first natural disaster as commander-in-chief. Today he heads to Missouri to push for tax reform. They want to get that done by the end of the year. Let's bring in Kristin Tate, contributor to The Hill and author of Government Gone Wild, and Democratic strategist Starr Hopkins. Good to see both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Good to see you.
Kristin, I just want to check on your family and friends in Houston. How are they doing right now?
What happened in Houston is so heartbreaking. People's lives have been destroyed, but I am so grateful to say that all of my friends and family are accounted for. They're safe. Some of them are dealing with difficult situations, you know, houses being destroyed, being evacuated, but everyone is safe. That's all that matters, and we've seen such heart and spirit from Houstonians in the last few days.
Ground zero of this devastation. That is very good news. Michael, the president responded pretty fast to this disaster, right? He traveled yesterday to Texas. He avoided the flooded areas as best he could, but still the critics are saying he showed no empathy. How do you criticize a president responding to a crisis?
You know, I would say to many people, we shouldn't politicize this event. You know, it would have been nice if the president had met with survivors, but you know,
I think the president, this weekend.
I know, and which is what I was going to say. I think that it was smart for the president to kind of stay out of the way and not divert police resources. But with that said, I think that what we're seeing in Houston is exactly what we need to see: the American resolve, a unifying message. And I hope the president takes that message when he goes to Missouri and inspires the country and tries to tamper down some of the divisiveness.
Kristin, do you think he'll be able to stay on message with tax reform today with Harvey in the backdrop?
I hope he will be. Look, I mean, Americans voted for tax reform. This is what we wanted. I'm actually optimistic that something will get done by the end of the year. I don't think we're going to get comprehensive tax reform, but at least it will be something, because Republicans know that if they don't deliver next year when they face those voters, it's not going to be pretty, especially after they failed to repeal Obamacare. And I also think there are going to be some Democrats from purple states who may get on board with tax reform, too.
Right.
You know, this shouldn't be as controversial as health care reform, so I hope President Trump can stay on message. But again, it's a very devastating time for the country, especially Houston, so I'm glad that he's putting attention there as well.
You know, President is getting swing voters, or trying to target swing voters by pitching tax reform, and we likely won't get details today because they're still working on that in Congress. But he's pitching tax reform as a way of unrigging the economy, Michael. Do you think is that message resonating with voters?
I don't think it'll resonate, at least with Democratic voters. You know, a lot of these tax breaks have been rumored to be on the back of the poor and middle class, and that's not the way to go about making sure that the economy stays rolling. That's not the way to make sure that average Americans have food on their table. So I think that if we're going to do tax cuts, it's going to have to be balanced, and we're going to have to make sure that everyone pays their fair share.
Okay, and final question for you, Kristin. Going back to Harvey, you know, if you look at the 2018 budget, the president has promised big cuts to FEMA. Do you think this is going to become, you know, funding the people who need help right now? Is this going to become a political fight?
You know, it might become a political fight, but at the end of the day, I got to tell you, Texans and Houston, they're very independent, hardworking people. There's a mentality down there that government is not the solution to all of their problems. And while the government's doing a great job and while the funding is certainly needed, most of the success and rescue stories we've seen coming out of Texas are from other Houstonians, other Texans who are getting in their own boats, helping out their neighbors, their friends, people they don't even know. It's really breathtaking, but it's not surprising. This is what Houston and Texas is all about.
It certainly is. Kristin and Michael, thank you so much for your time
Glad you're
today.
safe, Kristin.
Thank you so much.